Welcome to the Fantasy Formula One podcast. I'm Paul. That's Ben. Any hot topics that you have?
There's always the stories that are overanalyzed ad nauseum. This week, it's all about who is the golden child. Is it Lando or is it Oscar Piastri? And I think the prevailing meme is Star Lord and Thor. We all know who's in charge here, and Peter Quill's going like, "Yeah, it's me, right?"
It's
And Thor goes, "Of course, of course." Of course, and that's Oscar Piastri. There's all the articles about Lando kind of getting stuck in his head.
yeah,
Talented driver, but he's been on the circuit for a couple years now, and here's Oscar, pulling up and making a name for himself. And that's translated onto my teams. I've got three primary builds. I've got one generally built around a solid constructor. So I've got both drivers for Mercedes, and then I've got Mercedes as a constructor team that is built based solely on having two solid constructors. I still did good. I had Mercedes and McLaren, and then I had Kimi Antonelli, and then whatever else I could afford.
yeah.
Decent for me, 181 points, but my top performer, McLaren and Oscar Piastri, because he was still so much cheaper than Lando Norris when I
hmm
acquired him a few weeks back. That netted me 213 points
There we
with
go.
Williams as my second constructor. So
Okay.
while they're hot, man, McLaren is pretty untouchable. We still haven't seen Ferrari heat up yet, and you still have the lopsidedness of Red Bull as they try to figure out
Yeah.
what to do in that driver two position. Between last week or last race and this one, Oscar only went up 0.3 million. So Lando is still and Lando went up as
Well,
well
point
because again, it
one.
was, he's still
Yeah.
doing great. He's still the lead, but he's $30.1 million currently, and Oscar is 23.7. And given the equivalence of their driving and their performance right now, you can't, yeah, you got
Yeah.
to go Oscar all day. My McLaren Mercedes team is Kimi Antonelli. He's
Yeah.
actually got his own, I think he's got his own Netflix thing coming out
Does he?
called The Seat. I get the logic of it, but they could have done better than that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Netflix, we got a couple creative guys right here.
We can at least criticize
Yeah.
what you come up with. We may not be able to offer
Exactly.
anything of value, but we'll be able to.
We can give you our take on something that's just as good as the seat. We still have like what 20 races left.
Oh yeah,
And as soon as Lando
it's
Norris scores 10 more points a race than Oscar Piastri, there's a difference between, like being P 50,000 or being in the top 100 in
sure.
fantasy.
By no means is Lando Norris doing poorly. He's
hmm
he's still he's still in the top tier of performers. So I don't think it's so much that Lando is not great. I think it's just that Oscar's better than we expected him to be.
Yeah. Whenever like my father in law is like, hey, who do you favor for the championship? I'm like, well, I wear a Max Verstappen jersey because I was a fan of him before he was cool
Before
to
it
be
was
a fan
cool.
of Max. But as soon as there's somebody I'm pulling for right now, man, I'm pulling for Lando Norris to win the driver championship all the
Oh, for
way.
sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome. The problem in the fantasy realm is you have Lando, you're not getting two good constructors. We played out every possible scenario we could ad nauseum, and it's just not the money's not there.
Ferrari's starting to displace Mercedes fantasy points wise. They put up 56 points in Japan, 73 points in Bahrain, and 64 points in Saudi. But Ferrari is substantially more expensive than Mercedes right now. So in 10 races, who do you think is going to be better, Mercedes or Ferrari? Because that's really where we're at right now.
Yeah, that's a great question. Do you think that focus has had much weight in terms of the quick switch from Liam Lawson to Yuki Tsunoda?
Them putting Liam Lawson in over Yuki Tsunoda was political. And as soon as you apply a reasonable person's theory to how well Liam Lawson did, he had one race.
Right.
He had a wet track. Got it. You got to kind of, maybe you don't got it. Maybe that's the reason I'm not in F1. I am keeping a team that is Max Verstappen, Yuki Tsunoda, Red Bull Racing. Because if for some reason everybody else takes a dump, or if some reason Yuki Tsunoda actually figures out how to get some
Magic out of
speed
that car. Yep.
magic out of this car, and the other team is Haas. And I'm still going to go to F1 Fantasy Tools to see who's going up, and I'm going to moneyball it still. Assuming Haas is still going up, I'm just riding Yuki Tsunoda. I'm just going to kind of gamble with him because as soon as we're in race 10 or 11, and suddenly he and Max Verstappen are getting P1, P2, then Red Bull is a gold mine. Yeah,
However, it's a reasonable gamble. Yuki Tsunoda's been around. He has done well with AlphaTauri and then Red Bull Racing or and then
yeah,
V-Carb or Racing Bulls or whatever incarnation it has been. I feel like he has at least earned his shot and he's again this he's not a rookie. He could suddenly have a light bulb moment,
Absolutely.
go beautiful mind, and start drawing and chalk on the window, and realize, oh, there's a way to do this, and I can be successful alongside Max Verstappen. I know we're short on time. I've got
Oh
a
yeah,
couple rapid fire questions to hit
go
you
for it.
with. All right, one. Uh, a team needs a sub driver for Miami, and you get to drive. What team are you subbing for? Subbing in for?
I am going to sub in for Haas.
Interesting.
Do you want to know why?
Yes.
I'm saying no to Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren because and Red Bull because those bullpens are already really deep and those cars are very finely tuned to those drivers. Where I feel like if I were to go to Haas, they'd probably be able to throw a couple switches and give me like something I could manage. And if I did manage it, again, I'm not saying I'll be great, but they might let me at least run some sims for them. That's
Unexpected and insightful answer. Favorite flavor of Red Bull?
is it tangerine, like the orangish one? It's
Sure.
not actually orange.
Is Max Verstappen's lisp getting worse over time?
I think so. I didn't used to notice it.
Who would you be rooting for?
I would be rooting for a Lando Norris all the way.
Nice. Final thing, what's
Yeah,
what's the big story you're following this week?
we've already kind of talked about it, which is why I talked about it before. Is Yuki Tsunoda supposed to be there? So I have my
Sure.
opinion, but I'm
Okay.
not like a hardcore. This is the way it needs to be. If that makes sense. Well, as standard, like, subscribe, follow us.
And if you're listening on a platform where you can leave a comment, answer any one of those questions. We want to hear your thoughts on any of those.
Absolutely. It can even be long winded like mine. That is just fine too. We will reply. All right, buddy. Cheers.
Take care.